Cause it's you and me.
And the studio. So we sit down now. Jonathan's saying, now this is where it gets dark. Because I believe I am DeMarcus's daddy.
If you feel like leaving, you know you can go.
As Jonathan and I were talking, I saw Asia come in and sit in my chair that was in the console room. Now, Jay's back was to the window, right? So he couldn't see her come in, And, I flipped on the intercom system, so she could hear exactly what Jonathan was talking about. Well, Jonathan kept talking and told me that Asia had said,
I'm really tired of needy bitches.
The receptionist responded,
Bad lunch, huh?
Jonathan said at this point, Asia had got comfortable in her office, so she was sitting down in her Captain Leather's chair. And she said,
I should have took you to breakfast this morning.
After that, he said the receptionist smiled and said,
I'll get the contract right away. Dulcie said the label is sitting over the first gold plaques.
Jonathan went on to tell me that on that same day, he had been over with Mark at the cell phone bitch's place, right? And that Mark was now sitting in his new Denali, and he began to listen to his voicemails. Jonathan said he had got in his car and rolled on out. The fourth message was a message from Dimitri.
Just stay till he calls you, okay?
The second, was a message from the dry cleaner saying the clothes were done. And then Mark began to fiddle with his keys, trying to find the ignition hole. His hand was shaking so much, he dropped the keys on the floor. He was trying to find a way to disconnect the call, but somehow his mind just, couldn't register. Mark found the keys after starting the car. He headed directly over to Asia in my office, right? I don't like a lot of drama in my office, but I was putting up with Mark because he was Asia's husband. He pulled into the parking spot, next to the elevators. He got, off the elevators, wiping his nose, clear of any coca, that coca. That them cats be on, that white girl. I know. Okay, anyway. He walked past the secretary, right, sitting at the desk, and said, do you still want me? I looked at the secretary. I looked at him. And as I was walking away, I heard the secretary say, yes. I'll always want you. Wasn't none of my business. So I went back down the hallway to my studio and I shut my door. And see, this is where it was all getting to me, because remember, he had came to me and said that this was about DeMarcus, Mama's fat boy, my son. But he still hadn't totally cleared it up, because he said he slept with Asia. He said Asia slept with a bunch of people. He said that he was the father and not Mark. And now I'm thinking, I'm the father. So anyway, Mark walked into Asia's office, shutting the door behind him. That's what Jonathan told me. Asia stood up and said,
Hi, baby. I need to talk to you.
Jonathan then told me that Mark locked the door behind him. Asia came from around behind the desk, lifting up her skirt, and she leaned over the chair. No, I don't know how he knows all of this, but I guess he pieced it all together, right? She had her ass facing Mark. Mark grabbed her by her hair, slammed her to the floor. He said, what you gonna do next? Make videos, ho?
What are you talking about?
Asia was clearly upset.
What are you talking about?
I guess this is what she told Jonathan. All I'm telling you is what Jonathan told me. Okay, this guy's sitting in my studio telling me.
He was on stage with Team 901 at the MLK Park, rapping that song, and I had to have him. Can you watch DeMarcus? Mama's fat boy. I can't go back home to Mark until I know Marcus is
That's
okay.
what Jonathan said Asia said, right? He said Mark then kicked Asia in the stomach. He said, I heard you was, freaking with Dimitri and, in the message you left on my phone. Asia grabbed Mark's leg, attempting to catch, her breath. But Mark grabbed her by the hair and says, unzip me, bitch.